No one even asked me if I took the milk money that time.
What if I told you that the sweet voice behind Ducky from The Land Before Time was silenced by a real-life tragedy more chilling than any movie? From a Disney star who vanished after filming Mary Poppins to a teen heartthrob whose fame faded into heartbreak and mystery. Here are the 30 child actors who died too soon. 1. Judith Barcy. Judith Barcy was a young actress who many people loved. You might have seen her in Jaws, The Revenge, All Dogs Go to Heaven, or heard her voice, Ducky, in The Land Before Time. Even though she was super talented and doing great in her career, things at home were really bad. Her dad had a lot of problems. He was angry all the time and treated Judith and her mom badly. They tried to get help and even contacted the police, but sadly, it wasn't enough. On July 25, 1988, something terrible happened. While Judith was sleeping, her dad hurt her and her mom. Later, he set the house on fire and also lost his own life. It shocked everyone, especially in Hollywood, because nobody expected something like this to happen to someone so young and full of potential. After what happened, more people started talking about how important it is to protect kids, even those working in movies. 2. Heather O'Rourke. Heather O'Rourke was only 12 when she passed away, and a lot of people still remember her because of the famous line, "They're here," from the Poltergeist movies. She started acting when she was just a little kid and became really popular fast. At first, doctors thought she had Crohn's disease, but later they found out she actually had a rare condition from birth that made part of her small intestine too narrow. That caused a serious problem in her body. On February 1st, 1988, she suddenly got very sick and collapsed. She was rushed to the hospital and went through surgery, but sadly, she didn't make it. The cause was something called septic shock, which happened because of the issue with her intestines. Her death was a huge surprise to fans in the movie world. People even started talking about a poltergeist curse because more than one actor from the movies passed away young. Even though Heather's life was short, she made a big impact with her acting, and people still think of her as the sweet little girl from the movies who made them smile and sometimes gave them chills. 3. River Phoenix. River Phoenix was one of those actors who just stood out. He was known for movies like Stand By Me and My Own Private Idaho. A lot of people loved him not just for his acting, but also because he cared a lot about animals and the environment. He seemed like someone who really wanted to make a difference. On October 31st, 1993, something really sad happened. River was outside a nightclub in Los Angeles called the Viper Room when he suddenly collapsed. His younger brother Joaquin and sister Rain were there and tried to help, but River passed away on the sidewalk. Later, it was said that he had taken a dangerous mix of substances that made his heart stop. The news shocked everyone because River was seen as someone who avoided that kind of lifestyle. He was only 23 and had so much more to give to the world. His passing really made people think about the pressures of fame and the importance of mental and physical health. 4. Sawyer Sweeten. Sawyer Sweeten was best known for playing Jeffrey Barone on the TV show Everybody Loves Raymond. He acted alongside his twin brother Sullivan and older sister Madeline, and they were actually all siblings in real life too. The show was super popular, and people really loved their family dynamic. After it ended, Sawyer stepped away from acting and lived a quiet, private life. Sadly, on April 23, 2015, while visiting family in Texas, Sawyer passed away. He was just a few weeks away from turning 20. His family later said that he had been dealing with depression, but he didn't really talk about it much. His passing shocked a lot of fans and made many people start talking more seriously about mental health, especially for young people who used to be in the spotlight. It showed that sometimes, even when someone seems okay on the outside, they might be going through a really tough time inside. After what happened, there were more open conversations about how important it is to support mental health and check in on the people around us. 5. Lee Thompson Young. Lee Thompson Young became famous when he starred as Jet Jackson in the Disney Channel show The Famous Jet Jackson. He was a really talented actor and had a bright future ahead of him. As he got older, he took on more serious roles and acted in the TV show Rizzoli and Isles. On August 19, 2013, Lee didn't show up for work, which was really unusual. When someone went to check on him at his apartment in Los Angeles, they found out he had passed away. Later, it was revealed that Lee had been quietly dealing with bipolar disorder for many years. Even though he didn't talk much about it publicly, he had been struggling on the inside. His family was heartbroken, but they wanted to help others, so they started the Lee Thompson Young Foundation. The goal of the foundation is to raise awareness about mental health and to make it easier for people to talk about what they're going through. 6. Matthew Garber. Matthew Garber was the adorable boy who played Michael Banks in Disney's Mary Poppins. His role in that movie made a lot of people smile, and even today, many fans still remember his cheerful face and playful attitude. He did a couple more movies after Mary Poppins, but then he decided to stop acting and focus on his studies. In 1976, when he was traveling in India, he got sick with hepatitis, which is a liver infection. It's believed he may have caught it from eating or drinking something that wasn't clean. When he returned to London, he went to the hospital, but his condition became worse. The illness caused serious problems in his body, especially in his pancreas. Sadly, he passed away in the hospital on June 13, 1977. He was only 21 years old. At the time, the news didn't get much attention, and most people didn't even know what had happened to him. It wasn't until many years later that Disney fans found out. Dana Plato. Dana Plato was a famous actress back in the 80s, best known for playing Kimberly Drummond on the TV show Different Strokes. A lot of people loved her on the show, but after it ended, her life became really difficult. She faced a lot of problems with money, got into some legal trouble, and struggled with drug addiction. Dana really tried to get her career going again, but things never fully worked out the way she hoped. On Mother's Day weekend in 1999, while visiting her fiancé's mom in Oklahoma, something tragic happened. Dana passed away after taking a mix of painkillers and muscle relaxers. The medical examiner said it was a self-harm, but her fiancé believed it was an accident. No one knows for sure. Sadly, just 1 year later, her son Tyler also passed away. 8. Dominique Dunne. Dominique Dunne was a young actress who played the older sister, Dana Freeling, in the movie Poltergeist. She was just getting started in her acting career and had a bright future ahead, but sickly, her life was cut short in a very tragic way. She had been in a relationship with a man named John Sweeney, who was known to have a bad temper. After Dominique broke up with him, he came to her home in Los Angeles one night asking to talk. At first, it seemed like a regular conversation, but things quickly got out of control. He hurt her during the argument, and she ended up unconscious in her driveway. Dominique was taken to the hospital and placed on life support, but after 5 days with no recovery, her family made the difficult choice to let her go. She passed away on November 4th, 1982. The man responsible was later found guilty of voluntary manslaughter, but only served a few years in prison. 9. Dana Hill. Dana Hill was an actress known for her funny and lovable role as Audrey Griswold in National Lampoon's European Vacation. She also had a great voice and worked on a lot of animated shows like DuckTales. What many people didn't know was that Dana had type 1 diabetes since she was a child. This condition made her life really tough. It slowed down her growth and caused her a lot of health problems. Even though she was going through so much, she kept acting and made people smile with her work. By the early 90s, her health started getting worse, and she had to slow down her career. In 1996, Dana had a major stroke caused by her diabetes. She fell into a coma and sadly never woke up. She passed away on July 15th, 1996, at just 32 years old. 10. Josh Ryan Evans. Josh Ryan Evans was a talented actor who made a big impact even though he was small in size. He was born with a rare condition called achondroplasia, which is a type of dwarfism. Because of this, he looked much younger than his age and stood just 3 feet 2 inches tall. But that didn't stop him from chasing his dreams. He's best known for playing Timmy on the soap opera Passions and the young Grinch in the movie How the Grinch Stole Christmas. 2000. Josh was always really positive and open about his health issues. He inspired a lot of people by showing that it's okay to be different and that you can still live a full life. On August 5th, 2002, he went in for surgery related to his heart condition, but sadly, he didn't make it. That same day, his character was written off the show Passions, which made the timing even more heartbreaking. Josh passed away at only 20 years old, but he left behind a legacy of kindness, bravery, and strength. 11. Carl Switzer. Carl Switzer is better known by his childhood nickname Alfalfa from the Little Rascals series, also called Our Gang. He was the kid with the cowlick and the funny singing voice that made people laugh. But after the show ended, things got hard for him. Like many child stars, Carl found it tough to get adult roles. Eventually, he stopped acting and took up jobs like being a hunting guide and a bartender. In January 1959, Carl had a disagreement with a man named Bud Stilts over money that had to do with a missing dog. Carl went to his house to talk about it, but things got heated. There was an argument, and Stilts ended up shooting Carl. He said it was self-defense, and the court believed him, but some people think the truth was more complicated. Carl passed away at just 31 years old, which shocked fans who had grown up watching him. 12. Bobby Driscoll. Bobby Driscoll was once one of Disney's biggest stars. He acted in movies like Song of the South, Treasure Island, and was the voice of Peter Pan in the classic 1953 animated film. He had so much success at a young age, and for a while, it seemed like he had everything. But when Bobby got older, things changed. As he hit puberty, his look and voice changed, and Disney stopped giving him roles. That really affected him, and he had a hard time figuring out who he was after fame. He felt lost and turned to drugs, hoping to escape the pain. By the 1960s, he was living alone in New York City, far from the spotlight. In 1968, his body was found in an old, empty building, and no one knew who he was at the time. Since he didn't have any ID, he was buried without anyone knowing. It wasn't until over a year later that his identity was confirmed with fingerprints. He was only 31. 13. Brad Renfro. Brad Renfro became famous when he was just 11 years old after starring in the movie The Client. A lot of people were amazed by how good his acting was at such a young age, but fame came really fast, and that made things tough for him. As he got older, Brad started struggling with addiction and had some run-ins with the law. He went to rehab more than once, and even though he tried to get better, the pressure of Hollywood never really went away. On January 15, 2008, Brad was found in his apartment in Los Angeles. He had passed away from an accidental overdose. What made it even sadder was that just a week before, he had finished working on a new movie and seemed to be trying to turn his life around. Brad was only 25. 14. Corey Haim. Corey Haim was a big teen star back in the 80s. He acted in popular movies like The Lost Boys, Lucas, and License to Drive. He had a huge fan base and seemed to be living the dream, but behind all the fame, Corey was going through a really hard time. For many years, he struggled with addiction. He went to rehab multiple times and had a lot of ups and downs that were often shown in the media. On March 10, 2010, Corey collapsed at his mom's apartment in Los Angeles. People first thought it was because of drugs, but the autopsy said he died of pneumonia. Still, doctors found small amounts of prescription medicine in his system, and his body was already weak from years of health issues. Corey was only 38. His life showed how fame can sometimes come with really tough challenges, especially when it starts at a young age. Coming up next is a young actress who went from TV fame to a life far from Hollywood until one quiet afternoon, her name made headlines for the most heartbreaking reason. 15. Ashley Aston Moore. Ashley Aston Moore was best known for playing young Chrissy in the 1995 movie Now and Then. She was super funny and sweet in the film, and a lot of fans loved her for her unique charm. But after that movie, Ashley decided to step away from acting. She lived a quiet and private life away from the spotlight. Sadly, she had some personal struggles that not many people knew about. On December 10, 2007, Ashley passed away in British Columbia from an accidental overdose. She was only 26 years old. A lot of people were shocked when they heard the news, especially fans who remembered her from her childhood role. Unlike some of her co-stars who stayed in the public eye, Ashley chose a different path, but that didn't make her any less memorable. Her role in Now and Then continues to bring back childhood memories for many people. 16. Michael Cuccione. Michael Cuccione was a young actor, singer, and someone who really cared about helping others. He was from Canada and became well known for playing QT in the MTV show Together, a parody about boy bands. People loved him for his humor, charm, and most of all, his real-life strength. When he was only 9 years old, Michael was diagnosed with Hodgkin's lymphoma, a type of cancer. He went through a lot of hard treatments like chemo and radiation, and thankfully his cancer went away. But the treatments hurt his lungs badly. In late 2000, he got pneumonia, and because his lungs were already weak, it became too much for his body. He was put on a ventilator, but sadly passed away on January 13, 2001, when he was just 16. Even though he was young, Michael raised a lot of money for cancer research and inspired so many people with his story and his fight. 17. Eric Fleming. Eric Fleming was a well-known actor, especially in the 1950s and 60s. He starred in the TV show Rawhide as trail boss Gil Favor Dormier, acting alongside a young Clint Eastwood. Eric wasn't a child star, but he started performing early in life and had a strong career in Hollywood. In 1966, he was filming a new adventure movie called High Jungle in Peru. During one scene, he and his co-star were in a canoe on the Hualaga River. It was just a rehearsal, but something went wrong. The canoe flipped over in the fast-moving water. Eric was caught in the current and sadly drowned. His body was found a few days later. He was only 41 years old. After his passing, the movie was never finished. Fans were heartbroken because Eric was so talented and had so much more to give. 18. Anissa Jones. Anissa Jones was best known for playing Buffy on the popular TV show Family Affair. She started acting when she was really young and became super famous fast. People loved her cheerful personality and adorable role. But after the show ended, things changed. Anissa had a hard time figuring out what to do next. Hollywood didn't offer her many roles, and she started to feel lost. As a teen, she got involved in the party scene and started hanging out with the wrong crowd. On August 28, 1976, she went to a party in California and took a mix of substances. The next morning, her friend found her unresponsive. She was just 18. The coroner said it was one of the worst overdoses he had ever seen in someone so young. Her passing shocked fans and showed how tough life after childhood fame can be. 19. Skye McCole Bartusiak. Skye McCole Bartusiak was a young actress who many people remember as the daughter of Mel Gibson's character in The Patriot. She also acted in popular shows like 24 and had a bright future in acting. But behind the scenes, Skye was dealing with health issues, including epileptic seizures. Her family was helping her manage them in natural ways, and they didn't think she was using anything dangerous. On July 19, 2014, Skye suddenly collapsed in her bedroom at her home in Texas. Paramedics came and tried to save her, but sadly, she passed away at the scene. When the toxicology report came back, it showed she had taken a mix of a painkiller, a muscle relaxant, and a medicine called Xanax. None of them were prescribed to her, and her death was ruled as an accident. Her mom said she had never seen Skye use anything for fun, which made it even more heartbreaking. Skye was just 21 years old. 20. Matthew Mindler. Matthew Mindler was a young actor who starred alongside Paul Rudd in the movie Our Idiot Brother. After acting for a short time, he decided to step away from Hollywood and focus on his school life. In 2021, he started attending Millersville University in Pennsylvania, but just a few days into the semester, something went wrong. Matthew didn't return to his dorm, and his family reported him missing. After 3 days of searching, he was found in a wooded area near campus. Sadly, he had passed away. The coroner later said the cause was sodium nitrate poisoning, which is a chemical that can be dangerous if taken the wrong way. It was ruled as self-harm. People were shocked because Matthew seemed like he had so much going for him. Later, it came out that he had been dealing with anxiety and other mental health struggles. 21. Misty Upham. Misty Upham was an actress who gave powerful performances in movies like Frozen River and August, Osage County. She was also a proud Native American woman who spoke up for indigenous rights. Misty had been open about her struggles with anxiety and bipolar disorder. In early October 2014, she went missing from her home in Auburn, Washington. Her family said she was having a mental health crisis and begged the police to search for her, but the police didn't take it seriously at first. 11 days later, Misty's body was found at the bottom of a steep hill. She had fallen and died from injuries caused by the fall. The police said it wasn't foul play, but her family believed things could have turned out differently if she had gotten help sooner. They also felt that being Native American played a part in how slowly things were handled. Misty's death was heartbreaking and sparked important conversations about how mental health issues are treated and how indigenous women are often ignored. She was only 32. 22. Taylor Negron. Taylor Negron John was an actor, comedian, and writer who had a one-of-a-kind personality. He was in a bunch of movies like Fast Times at Ridgemont High, Punchline, and The Last Boy Scout. You probably also saw him on shows like Friends, Seinfeld, or That's So Raven. Taylor started performing when he was a teenager and became known for his funny, dry sense of humor and his unique voice. He wasn't just an actor, he also loved painting and writing. In 2008, Taylor was diagnosed with liver cancer. He didn't talk much about it publicly, but he kept performing and making art while getting treatment. He stayed strong and creative through it all. On January 10, 2015, Taylor passed away at age 57. His cousin, Chuck Negrin from the band Three Dog Night, shared the news. 23. Rob Knox. Rob Knox was a young actor who had just finished filming his role as Marcus Belby in Harry Potter and the Half-Blood Prince when something really heartbreaking happened. On May 24, 2008, Rob was out at a bar in Sidcup, England, with his friends and his younger brother. Suddenly, a man with 2 knives started threatening them. Rob stepped in to protect his brother, and during the fight, he was sadly stabbed multiple times. He passed away at the scene. Rob was only 18 years old. The man who attacked him, Carl Bishop, had a history of being violent and was later sent to prison for life. Rob's death shocked fans of the Harry Potter series and really impacted the whole cast. His family wanted to do something meaningful in his memory, so they created the Rob Knox Foundation. The foundation helps support young people in the arts and also works to spread awareness about knife crime, especially in the UK. 24. Jonathan Brandis. Jonathan Brandis was a big star in the early 90s. He started acting when he was just 6 years old and became super popular as a teen. He starred in movies like Ladybugs, The Never-Ending Story 2, and the TV show Sequest DSV. Fans loved him for his talent and charm, and he was considered a teen heartthrob. But as he got older, acting roles became harder to find. Hollywood can be tough, especially when you grow up in front of the cameras. In 2003, Jonathan was really upset when most of his scenes got cut from a movie he worked on called Heart's War. On November 11th, he was found at his apartment after trying to end his life. He was taken to the hospital, but sadly passed away the next day on November 12th, 2003. He was only 27. 25. Sammy Kane Kraft. Sammy Kane Kraft was full of talent. She was an amazing athlete, a musician, and an actress all in one. Most people remember her for playing Amanda Wurlitzer in the 2005 remake of Bad News Bears. She didn't just act the part. She actually had real baseball skills, which is how she got the role in the first place. Sammy also made music under the name Scary Girls and had a cool, fearless energy that made her stand out. On October 9, 2012, something really tragic happened. She was a passenger in a car that was going too fast on the 10 freeway in Los Angeles. The car crashed into a semi-truck and then got hit by another vehicle. Sammy was rushed to the hospital, but sadly, she didn't survive. She was only 20 years old. 26. Lee Seung-hyun. Lee Seung-hyun was a well-known child actor in South Korea during the 1990s. He became popular for his roles in television dramas and was praised for his emotional acting, even at such a young age. People across the country saw him as someone with a very bright future. He had a way of making his characters feel real and relatable. On August 11, 1996, something tragic happened. Lee Seung-hyun died in a car accident while returning from filming. The details of the crash were not shared much in the media, but his passing hit the entertainment industry in South Korea really hard. He was only 19 years old, and fans were heartbroken. A lot of people began talking about how tough the schedules can be for young actors and how they are often overworked or constantly on the move. 27. Lexi Brumbach. Lexi Brumbach became famous after starring in the Netflix docuseries Cheer. She quickly became a fan favorite because of her incredible tumbling skills and bold, honest personality. Lexi wasn't afraid to be herself, and that's what made her stand out. She had faced some tough times in her life, including problems with discipline and making the right choices, but she managed to turn things around and find success through cheerleading. People saw her as strong and inspiring. In early 2024, news broke that Lexi had passed away at just 20 years old. At the time, no cause of death was officially confirmed, and fans were left shocked and heartbroken. Everyone in the cheer community and beyond remembered her for being fearless and real. She proved that you could make mistakes and still come back stronger. Even though she was young, Lexi left a big impact on a lot of people. 28. Anton Yelchin. Anton Yelchin was a super talented actor who started acting as a kid and grew into a respected star in Hollywood. You might know him best as Chekhov in the Star Trek reboot movies, or from films like Alpha Dog and Like Crazy. He had this calm, smart vibe on screen that made him stand out. On June 19, 2016, something really tragic happened. Anton was found outside his home after a freak accident involving his own car. He had gotten out of his Jeep Grand Cherokee, but the car rolled backward down his steep driveway and pinned him against a brick pillar. He passed away within minutes. The accident shocked everyone. Later, it was discovered that his Jeep had a known issue with the gear shifter that confused drivers and caused other accidents too. The company ended up recalling the car, and his family filed a lawsuit to raise awareness about vehicle safety. Anton was only 27, and he had already done so much. 29. Justin Pierce. Justin Pierce became well known for his role as Casper in the 1995 film Kids. The movie was raw and real, showing what life was like for teens in a tough part of New York City. Justin's performance stood out, and even though the movie was controversial, a lot of people saw his talent. After that, he acted in a few other movies like Next Friday and started gaining more fans. But behind the scenes, Justin was dealing with a lot of emotional struggles. On July 10, 2000, he was staying at the Bellagio Hotel in Las Vegas when he sadly ended his life. He left behind 2 notes which showed he had been going through a really tough time. He was only 25 years old. His passing was heartbreaking, especially for fans who saw so much potential in him. Justin had a way of being real and honest in his acting that connected with people. 30. River Mason Eromosile. River Mason Eromosile was a young star who had already done so many amazing things by the time he was just 11 years old. He worked as a model, an actor, and an influencer, and you could see his face in music videos, fashion ads, and TV shows for kids. He had a big personality and tons of confidence, and people loved watching him shine. In September 2023, the world found out some heartbreaking news. River had passed away. His family didn't share the cause of death and asked for privacy, which everyone understood and respected. Even though the details weren't public, the sadness was felt everywhere. Celebrities, fans, and people who worked with him shared kind messages and memories online. They talked about how much energy and joy he brought into every room. River's passing shocked a lot of people because he was so young and had so much more ahead of him. But even in just 11 years, he made a big impact. If this video touched you, leave a like, share it with someone who remembers these stars, and subscribe for more stories that matter.